What if I told you a billionaire just bought his freedom? That the courtroom verdict everyone celebrated was never about justice, but about power, money, and corruption. This isn't just Diddy's story, it's the unraveling of an empire. The split verdict hit the headlines with a jolt. On Instagram, 50 Cent wasted no time seizing the moment, tossing out a barbed reaction to his longtime rival. Did he beat the feds? That boy a bad man. Beat the Rico. Heat the gauge on, he wrote, drawing a bold comparison between Sean Diddy Combs and mob boss John Gotti, who once slipped past racketeering charges. Inside the courtroom, the mood was nothing short of suffocating. A silence settled over the space, like a thick blanket, heavy with anticipation. Combs sat motionless, his face set in stone, but his restless fingers drummed the table in quiet rhythm. His eyes darted judge lawyers. Cameras, the walls seemed to close in as the moment stretched. Then came the ruling, layered and complex. Combs, who had denied every accusation, was convicted on prostitution-related offenses, but cleared of both sex trafficking and racketeering. The verdict cracked open a flood of responses online. 50 Cent struck again, sharing a grinning photo of himself with the caption repeating his mocking line. Did he beat the feds? That boy a bad man. Beat the Rico, but not all reactions carried laughter. Aubrey O'Day, once mentored by Combs and a former member of Danity Kane, went live with her heartbreak. Recording CNN's coverage for her Instagram audience, she gasped, "Oh my God." The jury said not guilty on Cassie. Not guilty on Rico. No way Jane will be guilty. Her words tumbled out raw, her voice breaking as she added, "This makes me physically ill. Cassie must feel horrible." There was coercion. That's clear. Long before the jury reached its decision, O'Day had spoken openly about her idea of justice. In an interview with E! News, she explained that for those tied personally to the case, accountability meant more than a courtroom ruling. It was about closure, truth, and the weight of years of silence finally being lifted.
Professionally, I would like the prosecution to have done such an incredible job that nobody had any questions right now, and a lot of people have questions. At this point, if I'm going to blend those two worlds together, I would like to see a world in which they really connected the dots. I'd like to see them really bring home the charges that they indicted him for, because it's a dangerous game to play at a federal level against a billionaire mogul. There's cause for concern when you watch the trial, the very first part of it all play out, and there's still questions for people. I don't have any questions, but the prosecution needs to have done a good enough job to make sure that the jury...
Also, stepping forward was the attorney representing Cassie Ventura, name forever intertwined with Combs. Not only as a former partner but now as a pivotal voice in the trial. Ventura had been in an on-and-off relationship with Diddy from 2007 until 2018. Years marked by glamour on the surface but, as she testified, riddled with darkness behind closed doors. On the stand, Cassie spoke of manipulation, coercion, and abuse, peeling back layers of the image the world thought it knew. She described nights of fear, moments where control blurred into cruelty, and the chilling reality of what it meant to be tied to someone with power that felt untouchable. Her attorney carried those words forward after the verdict was delivered, speaking not only as legal counsel but as an advocate for what Cassie's testimony symbolized. In a carefully measured statement, the attorney emphasized that while the court may have acquitted Combs on certain charges, the experiences Cassie shared could not be erased or diminished by a legal ruling. Her story matters, the attorney stressed. The verdict does not erase the years she lived under that shadow. It does not change the fact that abuse, when it happens behind closed doors, often hides in plain sight. For Cassie, coming forward had been more than a legal move, it was an act of survival. Her lawyer reminded the public of the tremendous personal cost that comes with standing up against someone as influential as Diddy. The fear of retaliation, the backlash from fans, the scrutiny of media, who dissected every word and facial expression. Yet Cassie endured it, determined to have her truth recorded in a courtroom, even if justice felt incomplete. The attorney's remarks painted Cassie's testimony as part of a larger struggle, one that extends beyond her own story. They noted how many women in the entertainment industry have found themselves silenced, their accounts buried under contracts, settlements, or fear. In that sense, Cassie's voice represented not just herself but countless others who have faced similar circumstances, but never had the platform or courage to speak. This is not just about one relationship, the attorney said. It is about an imbalance of power that allows abuse to thrive, and it is about changing that balance. so no one else has to endure what Cassie endured. The statement also acknowledged the bravery it took for Cassie to relive those moments in court. Trauma is not linear, and every detail she revealed reopened old wounds. Yet she stood firm, even as defense lawyers tried to poke holes in her narrative. Even as the cameras magnified her every pause and hesitation, her attorney underlined this point. Testifying is not about perfection, it is about honesty. Cassie was honest, and honesty does not fade, even if verdicts do. After the trial, public reaction to Cassie's testimony was fierce and divided. Some rallied to her side, praising her strength. Others dismissed her words as opportunistic, but her attorney pushed back against the dismissals, framing them as proof of why victims so rarely come forward in the first place. This is why silence becomes the default, they said, because when someone finally speaks, the world questions, the world doubts, the world shames. Cassie chose courage in the face of all that. In many ways, her testimony marked a turning point in the narrative surrounding Diddy. The spotlight shifted from music, wealth, and image to the private cost borne by those closest to him. The attorney urged the public not to let the conversation fade now that the trial was over. "We cannot reduce this to headlines," they warned. "This is about real people, real pain, and a system that must learn to listen." Even as the verdict gave Combs a partial victory, the words of Cassie Ventura, the unwavering support of her attorney, that her story would not vanish into the background noise of celebrity scandal. Instead, it remained a powerful reminder that beneath the glitter of fame often lies a much darker truth. And that truth deserves to be heard, believed, and remembered.
I have no beef with
I don't know why.
With Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Do y'all really
can't
have
see
a
it?
beef?
I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't
Y'all
see
can't
it,
see
man.
that he loves me?
But see,
You really think?
The verdict had already been handed down days earlier. Not guilty. A shocking outcome that rippled through the music world, but whatever sense of triumph Diddy might have felt quickly dissolved when 50 Cent entered the conversation. And when he did, he came in loud. No whispers. No subtlety. In a public interview, 50 Cent leveled a harsh accusation. Diddy hadn't won the case. He had bought it. According to him, the jury's decision had less to do with evidence or truth and everything to do with money. Cold, hard cash. And, in 50's telling, Diddy used all of it to secure that verdict. The claim spread quickly. People didn't just hear it, they believed it. After all, 50 Cent has built his brand on saying what others won't. And this time, his words hit like more than just gossip. The rivalry between the two men runs deep. Both found fame out of New York's rap scene, and their feud traces back nearly 2 decades. In 2006, 50 released a diss track aimed at Diddy, where he went so far as to suggest Diddy knew the truth behind the unsolved murder of the notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace. Wallace, who was close to Combs, was gunned down in Los Angeles in 1997 at the height of the East Coast-West Coast rap war. No one has ever been convicted for pulling the trigger. 50 Cent has also lobbed accusations tying Diddy to the 1996 Las Vegas drive-by that killed Tupac Shakur. The only man charged in that case, Dwayne Keefe, D. Davis, was arrested in September 2023. Still, 50 has pushed the idea that Combs either played a role or knows more than he admits. On Instagram in 2023, he wrote, "Damn, so Pac got lined by Brother Love. Lol, time to lawyer up. Expletive. Might get sticky." Alongside a photo of Suge Knight with Tupac, Brother Love is one of Diddy's many nicknames, though he has repeatedly denied any connection to either Shakur's or Wallace's deaths. From Combs' side, he's insisted there's no real animosity with 50. In a 2018 interview on The Breakfast Club, he dismissed the notion of a feud altogether. "I don't have no beef with Fifth. He loves me. Y'all can't see it, but he loves me." But 50's social media history paints another picture. The day federal agents raided Combs' Miami mansion, 50 pounced again, posting, "Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case." The jab included a link to his G-Unit clothing brand, underscoring how he turned the moment into both mockery and marketing. Still, not everyone bought Combs' version of harmony. Capricorn Clark, once a close associate, testified in court about an unsettling moment years back at an MTV event in New York. She recalled leaving an interview with Combs and entertainment manager Chris Lighty, who at the time represented both Combs and 50 Cent. According to Clark, Diddy broke the tension in the elevator with chilling words. "I don't like all the back and forth. I don't do that. I like guns." When prosecutors pressed her on who he meant, Clark said he had an issue with 50 Cent and that he was deadly serious when he said, Her account fits a larger pattern described by witnesses in the trial. Testimony has repeatedly painted Combs as a man who used threats, whether firing an employee, physically assaulting a partner, or invoking gun violence to assert control. From former girlfriend Cassie Ventura to longtime colleagues, the stories share a common thread. Intimidation was part of the atmosphere surrounding him. They felt like more than claims, they felt like receipts. 50 Cent didn't stop at one interview or a single viral post. He escalated, launching what looked like a full-scale campaign. Screenshots, leaked voice notes, anonymous tips, even hints of financial trails. He claimed to have proof that intermediaries tied to Diddy's circle had reached out to jurors before and during the trial, offering promises, exchanging money, and buying silence. Inside the courtroom, rumors swelled into something impossible to ignore. Prosecutors, who had already accepted defeat, suddenly reconsidered. The judge, shaken by the gravity of the accusations, ordered an emergency closed-door session. Defense attorneys scrambled. The press swarmed the courthouse. And then came the breaking point: Diddy himself. His calm facade cracked wide open. He stood and shouted across the room, denying every word, hurling accusations at 50 Cent, calling him jealous, calling him a liar, claiming this was all an attempt to erase his legacy. But instead of restoring his image, the outburst made him look unhinged. The judge cut him down quickly, warning him to sit or face contempt of court. He obeyed, but the damage lingered. The spectacle had changed the tone of the case. Publicly, Diddy later issued an apology, careful in his wording. Notably, he did not mention Cassie by name, a silence explained by reports that his settlement with her barred him from speaking it aloud.
I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
The video surfaced on Diddy's Instagram, brutal, undeniable, before being quietly scrubbed from his page. But the damage was already done. His fiercest rival, 50 Cent, wasted no time weighing in. First he denied it even happened, 50 said, and then the tape comes out. That means everything he says is a lie. If you have a daughter, and you watch that, it's crazy. They let him get away with it, with all that influence and power. The person you're with should be part of your life, not forced. For 50 Cent, the video was just fuel for something bigger. He had long teased plans for a docuseries about Diddy, and when asked why, his answer was sharp. I'm the only one from hip-hop culture that's produced quality projects. The two men had history collaborations on tracks, business overlaps, and even ghostwriting from 50 in his early days. But as 50 made clear, it was never friendship. Puff is a business person, he said. When people call him a producer, I see people that were taken advantage of. He credited Jennifer Lopez, Diddy's former girlfriend, for convincing Diddy to give him songwriting work when he was clawing his way back into music after being shot in 2000. Still, 50 recalled refusing to answer Diddy's calls, insisting he never wanted to party with him or share that world. What might have once been casual rivalry had hardened into something much darker. Inside the courtroom, Diddy tried to steady himself. He clung to composure, but each day chipped away at the facade. Every headline hammered the walls of his empire. Every testimony added weight to the truth, pressing down on him. And then, 50 Cent spoke again. This time, it wasn't with mockery, it was with a single line that reverberated louder than any diss track. Justice shouldn't be for sale. The words landed like a gavel strike. Investigators widened their net. Subpoenas went out to Diddy's inner circle. Private messages were pulled. Financial records, spanning years, were dissected. Old lawsuits were reopened, not for their verdicts, but for their patterns. Witnesses were recalled. Some jurors even asked for protection, saying they feared retaliation. The courts that once cleared Diddy now circled him with renewed purpose. Whispers emerged that Diddy had been warned before the trial. He couldn't afford a guilty verdict, not with what was waiting just beyond. Now, the picture was coming into focus. This wasn't just about a single case. It was about power, influence, and how far fame could bend the system. And when the illusion collapsed, it didn't just take down a verdict. It shattered the entire tower Diddy had built. The next trial, if it comes, won't simply ask if he's guilty. It will dig into how long the deception lasted, how far it spread, and how many looked the other way. Because this time, 50 Cent didn't just speak. He sounded the alarm. He blew the whole thing wide open, and there was no way to put it back together. Diddy's inner circle thinned by the hour. Friends turned cold. Lawyers once proud to defend his name grew cautious, hesitant, and distant. The cost of association was rising, and no one wanted to pay it. The questions swirling weren't just legal anymore, they were existential. Who was Diddy, really? What had he become? And how much of his image had been nothing more than performance? Then the past began to haunt him. Old videos, resurfaced interviews, backstage moments, party clips, harmless once. Now they played like evidence. Every smirk, every laugh, every gesture took on a darker tone when viewed through a new lens. Suddenly, the story wasn't just about bribery or a single verdict, it was about culture, corruption, cover dash-ups. Meanwhile, new leaks painted an even grimmer picture. Documents tied Diddy to shell companies funneling payments to so-called consultants. The vague descriptions told a story of their laundry analysis, trial assistance, media influence planning. Investigators dissected every line. Experts weighed in. This wasn't just bad optics. This was a blueprint. The fallout stretched beyond Diddy himself. His connection to 50 Cent's ex, Daphne Joy, surfaced in lawsuits. She was named in Rodney Jones's case as an alleged sex worker on Diddy's payroll, a claim she fiercely denied as 100% false and vowed to fight legally. 50 mocked the allegation online, only for Daphne to fire back with accusations of her own, accusing 50 of rape and abuse during their relationship. She framed it as retaliation, a response to his push for custody of their son. The clash spiraled into dueling lawsuits, her claims of assault, his counterclaim of defamation. For 50 Cent, the timing was brutal. He was producing a docuseries on alleged abuse in hip-hop, yet now faced allegations himself. Asked by The Hollywood Reporter, he admitted the claims were damaging. Just to have anything said about you in this climate is damaging. But insisted they were false and born out of custody disputes. Still, the contradictions raised uncomfortable questions. And while personal scandals played out in the tabloids, Diddy's legal storm only intensified. Attorney Ben Kuth, a lawyer who represented Johnny Depp against Amber Heard, predicted an indictment was likely, citing FBI raids on Diddy's properties and calling the signs ominous. Meanwhile, mainstream outlets from CNN to the BBC splashed the story across headlines. What began as a verdict now looked like the tip of something massive. Something rotten. Former jurors even began to speak out anonymously. One admitted they felt pressured during deliberations, describing strange coincidences that put them on edge. Another confessed to receiving suspicious emails they deleted without reporting. The FBI reportedly launched a parallel investigation, not just into Diddy, but into whether the judicial system itself had been compromised. And through it all stood 50cent.com. Calculated. Relentless. You thought the game was rigged. It was worse than you imagined, he posted, the words striking like thunder. Fans rallied. Critics dissected. Diddy's acquittal, once a cause for celebration, now looked like a countdown clock to something bigger. Every headline, every leak, every subpoena shrank Diddy's world further. Witnesses were recalled. Jurors sought protection. Anonymous sources whispered that Diddy had been warned he couldn't afford a guilty verdict on RICO because what came after would be far worse. The illusion of untouchability was gone. This wasn't entertainment gossip anymore. It was history unraveling in real time. A story about power, influence, and how fame could twist justice itself. The next trial wouldn't just ask if Diddy was guilty. It would ask how deep the deception ran, how long it lasted, and how many were complicit in keeping the truth buried. And for once, 50 Cent didn't gloat. He didn't need to. His words echoed louder than any post, any interview, any rant. Justice shouldn't be for sale.